Stuart McMillan to be followed by Michael Mara at around 6 minutes. Mr McMillan.
Thank you very much, Presiding Officer. First of all, I was keen to speak in today's debate as a football fan. I'm a Greenock Morton fan and also follow the national team. And supporting both over the years has not always been easy, I think it's fair to say. However, football fans do live for these days when we actually do get a chance to witness something special. I was in France for the World Cup in '98 for the Scotland-Norway game, and memories will stay with me for the rest of my life. I also had the honour of piping our national anthem in Hampden in 2019, when Scotland played Cyprus in a qualifying match. I also had the pleasure of piping at Capello and also around Finland when Morton took part in a pre-season tour in 1996. And as colleagues from the Chamber will know, in 2017 I did the pipe-a-thon around all the football clubs, the senior football clubs in Scotland, to raise some money for charity. In recent years, I've been able to take both my daughters to watch both Scotland and Morton, and I've also attended a Scotland women's match at Hampden. I'm going to touch upon the growth of women's game in a moment, but for anyone who wasn't aware, not only did the first men's international take place in Scotland, the first women's international in Great Britain took place in Greenock at Ravenscraig Stadium on the 18th of November 1972. It was a Scotland versus England match. The match was held at the stadium. A match was held at the stadium last year to mark the 50th anniversary of the game, and there is no lie in saying that Scotland is a home of international football. Now, football has the ability, possibly like no other sport, to impact a local town or a nation's mood. Just think of the collective anticipation we all felt on Tuesday in the build-up to the Scotland-England match. Sadly, the result wasn't what I certainly would have wanted. And I can see Mr Simpson smirking over there. But the national team, the men's national team is on the cusp.
Graham Simpson.
Thanks, Stuart McMillan, for taking the intervention. I shouldn't need to point out to Stuart McMillan that I am a Scotland fan, because I was born in Aberdeen. I think he knows that. So I was rooting for Scotland.
Yeah, quite right. Yeah.
Stuart McMillan.
No, thank you. As an English-born Scot, my loyalties clearly were only on one side on Tuesday night. Certainly, for the men's national team are on the cusp of reaching their second Euros in a row, and there is so much optimism and excitement around the men's national team at present, and long may that continue. There's no doubting the role that football plays in our societies and communities. And no playground would be the same without a ball being kicked, and it would not be a family party without someone talking about the most recent football results. Football is ingrained in Scotland. It's hard to ignore our national game. Even those who are not regular football spectators got involved during the Euros in 2021. The children, the length and breadth of the country felt the excitement that only those old enough to remember the halcyon days of Craig Brown and Andy Roxburgh taking us to international tournaments. Sure?
Douglas Lumsden.
He mentioned Craig Brown, and I just wondered if he would like to join me in remembering what a great man Craig Brown was, and obviously we lost him recently. Great manager for Scotland and Aberdeen.
Stuart McMillan.
I absolutely agree with the comments mentioned. Craig Brown was an outstanding manager and servant to football in Scotland, and also managed elsewhere too, but an outstanding servant to Scottish football and a great loss. My local club, Greenock Morton, celebrate their 150th anniversary next year, and I'm looking forward to colleagues to sign the motion when I put it down in due course. No one can enter or leave Inverclyde without driving past Capello, one of Scotland's most traditional grounds, also with one of the smallest pitches, and it's got so much character to it. And many parent-child bonds have been developed, standing in the cowshed in the stadium, cheering on Morton legends like Alan McGraw, Andy Ritchie and Alan Mahood, just to name just three. But football has that ability to actually unify us in the most special way. And when the late Alan McGraw passed away earlier this year, there was an outpouring of emotion for Mr Morton, a man who was inducted into the Club Hall of Fame in 2017 after spells as a player and a manager of the club. In 2019, a group of Morton fans called Morton Club Together began with the aim of contributing to the first team playing budget. That goal developed into pursuing community ownership. And now, as of June 2021, Greenock Morton Football Club is owned by its fans. Now, Morton Club Together is an entirely volunteer-led organisation with many dedicated people giving up time, effort and also money to help make community ownership a success. Now, where else would you see people giving up so much time, effort and money to something that they can often put, sometimes in the worst of moods? Now, football clubs have that enduring hold over their fans. Morton also have the Community Development Trust, and I had a members' debate about the Morton Community Development Trust a number of years ago, and Morton and the community is what they're called. They're an example of what can be done with the right attitude and desire to make things better for people living in a community. Now led by Brian McLaughlin, the organisation has been operational since March 2013. They help create a healthier and safer region by working closely with key partners in the public and private sectors to create inclusive programmes that engage people of all ages and abilities. Now, these range from physical literacy classes in nursery schools through to non-elite coaching sessions with 2 to 16-year-olds, employability training for people of all ages, promoting healthy lifestyles and physical and mental wellbeing sessions. More than 5,000 people are engaged in these programmes on an annual basis. Inverclyde communities together, and probably no other medium, certainly football can affect our communities so much better and so much more. But I want to finish, President Officer, by touching upon the women's game. I generally think it's a really exciting time for young women and girls for football. No other time in history has there been so much support for the women's game. I'm in no way saying that things are equal, because they're not. Still got a long way to go. But young girls, for the first time, are having it normalised to see elite women's football on television at prime time. And I know that many people watch women's football for the first time in Scotland to qualify for World Cup in 2019. The Scottish teams compete at a high level in European competitions, and domestic games now appear regularly on our TV. And I hope that the feel-good factor around the women's game at present continues to grow. Growing up, Scotland games, the men's games, are free on TV. And before I was elected to this Parliament, I actually put forward a petition to the then Petitions Committee. It was around about 2003-04, actually calling for the men's game to once again be shown on free-to-air TV. And during this cost of living crisis, we should not be asking football fans to pay even more money to watch our national team play. The UK Government needs to hear these calls loud and clear to make sure that every young person in Scotland has the ability to watch our national teams at such an exciting point in our footballing history on free-to-air channels. Thank you very much.